Hey everyone, Adrian Clarke here. I hope you're good. Today's show is about Arsenal, but more specifically, what do Arsenal need to do in order to become champions? To turn second place, 3 years in a row, of course, into finishing top of the pile. Now, the transfer window is a big factor. Of course it is. And I'm as excited as all Gooners out there about the players that have been brought in. The depth of the squad looks much, much better. But football is a team game. And as a collective, there's no doubt that last season there were certain areas of Arsenal's game that could have been a little bit better. So, what do they need to improve on in order to turn second place into first? That is the theme of today's show. Right. And in true YouTube style, I picked out 5 things as well. So make sure you stick around to see all 5. Let's get cracking, shall we? And start with the first, which is create more fast breaks. You might be thinking, what do you mean create more fast breaks? What's the big deal about that? Well, look at the goals and the shots that Liverpool had from fast breaks and counters last season. 66 shots, 14 goals from fast breaks. No one had more than Liverpool in terms of goals. But what you'll see from Arsenal on that ticker down below is that Arsenal scored 9 goals from just 28 shots from fast breaks. They were actually absolutely brilliant at it in terms of executing quality chances and finishes on the counter. The problem was Arsenal didn't manufacture those situations often enough. Imagine if Arsenal had 66 shots from fast breaks, how many goals they might have scored. And let's be honest, if Arsenal want to be champions this season, they need to score more goals. Dynamism is very, very important. And obviously, at the time of recording, Victor Gyökeres isn't yet a Gooner, but hopefully that will happen very soon. And he makes run after run after run and is always looking to run in behind. So I think that he will make a positive difference, as will a fully fit Saka and Martinelli. And I also want to mention Noni Madueke. Noni Madueke is quick. He's direct. He runs with the ball beautifully. And he's going to be a real asset, I think, to Arsenal on the counter attack this season. He had 11 shots from fast breaks last term. Only 5 players in the whole Premier League have more. So, and all of them played a lot more minutes than Noni Madueke. So he is going to have an impact from those situations. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that that's the case. He didn't score from any of those shots from fast breaks, but I'm sure that Mikel and the coaching staff are going to work really, really hard on his end product and on finishing. So yeah, look, how do we do it tactically? You know, what do we have to do to change things around? Well, Arsenal love possession. Mikel Arteta wants to control games. And look, when they went to PSG, Parc des Princes last year, I loved it when they took control of that game and just outplayed the eventual European champions. And look, there will be loads of occasions where Arsenal do that. And that's brilliant. But there are times in every game where you just need to back off a little bit and maybe draw the opponent onto you. Can Arsenal, just when they want to take a breather, back themselves at the back? Obviously, Arsenal got the best defensive record last season. Can the back line and midfield say, look, we're not, you can have the ball now. We're going to make ourselves hard to break down. And then, of course, bang, you win the press or you win the ball back and you launch those attacks hard and fast. And look, I think that is a method that Arsenal can use much, much more in the weeks and months ahead. So keep your eye on it, because I do think that will be a higher priority tactically for Arsenal next season. Right, that's one down. Next up, win the tough away games. It's obvious that that's important because they're the swing games, aren't they? You know, you can take 3 points off your immediate rivals. That is absolutely massive. And as you can see on the ticker below, Arsenal didn't actually do that often enough last season. We know that Arteta has a great record against the traditional Big Six, home and away. But last season, the only teams Arsenal beat on their travels away from home was Aston Villa early on in the season, and then Brentford. So, you know, lots of creditable draws in there. But to be champions, you need to turn those draws into wins, don't you? You need to take points off your immediate rivals. How do Arsenal go about doing that? What are they got to change? Well, for me, a lot of it is about the first 20 minutes. Okay, so in 5 of those 9 away games against the top 10, Arsenal went 1-0 down, and in 4 of those games, trailed inside the first 20 minutes. Now, it's really important when you go away from home to be organised, to give the home side nothing. And Arsenal under Arteta had done that very, very well. And they do it well against certain teams. But last year against the tougher opponents, they were caught. They were caught early on in games, whether that was concentration, discipline. I can't quite put my finger on it, but Arsenal have to have that clean sheet mentality in those toughest away games. I'm not saying park the bus. If it's on to control the game and dictate and go and score an early goal, brilliant. No, nothing wrong with that at all. But don't give anything away. That is the message, because if you're chasing games against the very best teams, it's a problem. I'm not going to sit here and criticise Arsenal's defending. They were brilliant at it last season. Gave most teams barely a sniff. The XG against was phenomenal. But if you stretch it out to the top 15, away from home last season, Arsenal kept 2 clean sheets, just 2. Liverpool had 6. So you to win games away from home, you don't want to have to score 2s and 3s and 4s, do you? That's not ideal. That's going to be tough. And Arsenal were conceding too many goals away from home last season. That meant they had to score 2 or 3 goals to win the game, which they didn't do often enough. So that's really, really important. And look, Arsenal have Man United away at Old Trafford, Liverpool away at Anfield, and Newcastle away at St James's Park, the first 3 away games of the season. So it is vital, I think, for Arsenal to lay a platform for the campaign ahead, to have that clean sheet mentality and not give home teams a leg up in those big, huge away games. Right. What's next? It is defend set pieces better. We all know, we're all fans of Nicolas Jover, aren't we? I mean, the guy is a genius in terms of attacking set pieces and coming up with routines that unlock the door. Arsenal, nothing wrong with us at the attacking end of the pitch. And in previous seasons, Jover have been brilliant at defending set pieces as well in terms of the setup. Last year wasn't so good. Arsenal conceded 14 goals from set piece situations. Only Wolves and Southampton let in more. And if you look at the ticker down there beneath me, compared to the top 5 rivals, Arsenal conceded way more. City had 5 goals against Newcastle, 8. Okay, Chelsea and Liverpool weren't too far behind, but Arsenal gave away goals that ultimately could have cost them points. And in the season ahead, with Liverpool, City, Chelsea, Newcastle all looking to be strong, then the fine margins matter, and Arsenal don't want to be giving up soft goals, because they often are soft goals from set piece situations. What can they do better? Well, I think you've always got to review the setup, haven't you? The balance between the man marking and the zonal. Can that change? Can we have a bit more desire to get that first contact? Could we be a little bit more aware of opposition game plans and what they, areas they might target? Because the bottom line is Arsenal faced the fewest corners in the Premier League last season, and they faced the second fewest shots from set pieces as a whole, from corners and wide free kicks. Only City faced fewer efforts, yet Arsenal conceded all of those goals. So that is an issue. On the plus side, the XG total of those 14 goals was only 7.81, which also tells me that Arsenal were maybe a bit unlucky, that opponents produced amazing finishes, that they scored goals that they weren't expected to score. So it's not all doom and gloom, but to become champions next season, and that is the obvious goal for Arsenal, it's clear that the team needs to be tighter from defending corners and wide free kicks. And I'm sure that they will be. Right. 3 down, I think, 2 to go. Next up is game management. This will surprise absolutely nobody. Look at the win ratios down there at the bottom of your screen. It's not good in terms of from 1-0 up, Arsenal didn't win enough games. It's as simple as that. 65.3% of games. Look at Liverpool, 84%, Newcastle, 83.3, Villa, 78.9, Chelsea, 72.7. This is an area that Arsenal have to be better at, because they do tend to start matches pretty well. I know I spoke about the away games conceding first. Well, look, in 26 of 38 Premier League matches last season, Arsenal opened the scoring. No one in the division can boast a better record than that. But Arsenal only converted those into 17 wins. 17 from 26, not great. 8 draws, 1 defeat. Too many slip-ups. Obviously, red cards didn't help. Arsenal were very unlucky, I think, with a few decisions. But also, can we look at not giving referees as many decisions to make? Decision making is key. Choices, pragmatism when it needs to be, especially from positions of strength where Arsenal are leading. Can they, don't take unnecessary risks? And like I said in the first section about fast breaks, maybe just sit off a little bit sometimes, rather than pushing, sit off a little bit, absorb pressure, and then go bang on the counter attack, because Arsenal are fantastic in that department, aren't they? The other key, I think, with game management is going on to score the second goal, isn't it? And Arsenal didn't do that often enough last season, because if, like Liverpool did so often, they get the first, they get the second or the third, it's game over. The pressure is off, and Arsenal didn't put themselves in that position often enough, and got themselves caught out. So it's not about going gung-ho all out to score that second goal, but it's very, very important that you don't give anything away. And then as other teams look to get a little bit more desperate, then you go and hurt them on the counter-attack. That's game management, isn't it? And I just think that Arsenal can do it a little bit better than they did last season. There's a lot of experience in the team now, loads of it. So there's no real reason why Arsenal can't just sometimes sit in, manage games properly, just destroy the confidence of opponents, and then go and extend the lead and see the game out. If you get a red card from 2 or 3-0 up, it doesn't matter as much. But when it's just the one, it's a bit more of a problem. Look, we hope that the added firepower, and there's going to be added firepower, is going to make a big difference this season in that regard. And that will hopefully help Arsenal get that all-important second goal. Right, 4 down, 1 to go. And look, this will surprise absolutely no Arsenal fans whatsoever. Score more goals. Simple as that. 69 last season, a dip of 22 on the campaign prior to that. So that's big. And of course, we finished 17 goals shy of Liverpool as well last season, who obviously had Mo Salah that was on fire. Kai Havertz top scored on 9. So look, we're hoping, Victor Gyökeres, if he signs on the dotted line, makes a big difference. But also, you want the other guys to chip in more often. Havertz with more, Saka, Martinelli certainly. Madueke come in, he can score goals. Can Ødegaard get more goals as well? We certainly hope so. At times, I've got to say, last season, everything felt a little bit formulaic and structured. And maybe that was to do with the limited personnel. There are extenuating circumstances. Of course, the first choice front three was out for ages. Putting Mikel Merino up front, who did great, not ideal. So, understand why it was a bit more formulaic. But I think to score, late 80s, 90 goals a season, even pushing 100, you probably need a bit more chaos. And I talk a lot about chaos in my work for Arsenal on Live from M5 on the co-coms with Dan Roebuck. Like, chaos is big. And what does chaos mean? Well, I think Victor Gyökeres will bring it. He's going to make run and run and run. He'll go left, he'll go right. He'll be unpredictable with his movement. It also means that wide players, can they come in off the sides, get themselves into goal scoring positions more often? Can the number 10 pop up on the left, on the right, go in beyond on occasion and join in and support the main striker, make a run beyond the centre forward as well? Potentially that could happen a lot more. Can Declan Rice get forward and get more shots? I think he absolutely can. What else is chaos? Well, it's fullbacks. Can we see a little bit more dynamism from them? Overlaps. I know that Miles Lewis-Skelly comes inside a lot. Calafiori, to his credit, provides a lot of chaos when he plays at left back, pops up as a second centre forward at times. I never forget that game against PSV away where we absolutely smashed them to smithereens. It was carnage, but it was chaos positionally. Players would pop up here, there, and everywhere. And I think Arsenal can do that a lot more, especially when they come up against these stubborn, defensive, low block opponents that don't have a great deal of ambition. You need to move people around. You need to stretch the play. You need to create overloads. And to do that, you've got to move your body and you've got to push yourself physically. And I think Arsenal can do that a lot more this season. And if they do it a lot more this season, I am very, very confident that we can score the goals that we need to potentially finish above Liverpool and Manchester City. And if Arsenal do finish above Liverpool and Manchester City this season, I think they'll be champions. It's as simple as that. I'm really confident. And the new signings are fantastic. But I think the 5 things that I've discussed here, I'm sure that Mikel Arteta and the players will be working on those aspects of their game as well in the run-up to the season, because if they can get it right and make gains in all of those departments, they'll score more goals, they'll win more games, they'll earn more points. And we're looking at that 90-point mark, aren't we? And I think that Arsenal, with the squad at their disposal this season and a bit of luck, can breach 90 points. I really do. And before I go, I just want to say a massive thank you for all the positive messages and comments that I got from my first video. It was overwhelming, really. I was chuffed to bits with it, way beyond my own expectations. Loads of you watching, loads of you subscribing. So please, if you haven't subscribed yet, give it a go. I'm learning the ropes. You might have to bear with me, but hopefully we can produce some quality content this season. I'll be back soon, probably with a look back at Arsenal's performance in the friendly against Newcastle United in Singapore. So until then, it's bye for now.